right. Am I live? Looks like it's the first time that I have went live in a really long time, and I'm just trying to figure out how to make sure that I am utilizing every tool that I have. Um, not able to do this. Oh, well. So hello, I'm assuming that I am live. I see an end button, so hoping that I am live with everybody right now. My name is Teresa Norwood, and I am the founder of Aid BIPOC. Aid BIPOC stands for Association for Intellectually Disabled, Black, Indigenous, and People Oppressed by Color. Um, Today, I've decided to go live on all of the social media platforms that I have a presence on to talk about missing child Janiyah McMichael Rogers. She went missing last year. Today marks 1 year from the date she was reported as missing by her mother, Jasmine McMichael. Um, just a brief breakdown. I just and a disclaimer here. This is the first time I went live in a really long time, so bear with me if I'm not doing something correctly or it's awkward. But I promised myself that I was going to do everything that I could to bring awareness today on all the social media platforms. Um, when I'm not able to get out and join any walks for her or any other missing person, um, I'd like to at least do my part to spread awareness. So, again, today we're going to talk about Janiyah McMichael Rogers. When she went missing last year, she was 13 years old. She's from Gary, Indiana. She went missing from Gary, Indiana. Allegedly, she uh, last saw her mother the evening of August 11th into the early morning hours of August 12th, 2024. Today is August 12th, 2025, so it's 1 year from the date she was reported missing by her mother. Excuse me. And there have really been no public leads by law enforcement, meaning that Gary Police Department, the FBI, um, any licensed private investigators, anybody that may have information that's been validated by the law enforcement community has not really been put out there. So now I understand that during an investigation, they're typically not going to give us any real solid information until they have enough, you know, proof or details or evidence to support what they're putting out into the public, because of course they don't want to jeopardize their case. But there are plenty of things that at least the Gary Police Department could do and can still do to raise awareness for this young child and to, um, you know, maybe by speaking out about it and giving us information that they are allowed to give us, maybe somebody in the community, somebody in her family, a friend, or maybe just somebody who may have witnessed something, know something, will come forward with information and somebody will actually do something with that information. And the reason that I say it like that is because um, although I understand Gary Police Department, Gary City in general, they may have limited resources, limited funding. They can come up with all the excuses in the world. When you have a 13-year-old child that's been missing for this long, you you should have actually taken action and spoke out with the public, and especially those in your immediate community, the ones that you're elected to represent. You could at least come out and give us regular um, updates, even if there are no updates, just showing your face and showing her face and saying her name and letting us know that things are being looked into, that the public can feel safe in reaching out to you to submit a tip, to tell you what they know happened, to tell you what they think happened because they know something or they know somebody or they talk to somebody, or anything, any background information, maybe a sighting. Um, there's a lot the Gary Police Department can do to bring awareness to this baby. Um, but I'm gonna go over a little bit of information that I've shared on several of my websites. Again, my name is Teresa Norwood. I'm the founder of Aid BIPOC. We're a nonprofit 501c3 organization here in the greater Chicago area. Um, of course, our efforts don't just stop in this area. We advocate for missing and trafficked persons all over the world, specifically and especially in the United States of America, because that's where I currently reside. But I advocate for anybody and everybody that may be missing. And the reason why I say it that way, just to clarify that as well, of course, I support the families wholeheartedly, the ones that actually um, care about their lost ones or loved ones, about them being missing. Unfortunately, some of our missing folks do not have that in their background, in their corner. They don't have family that should support them in that way. And matter of fact, in Jania's case, there really hasn't been a whole lot of family as far as the mom, and the people that were directly in her life during that time, that are really out there publicly showing their support and trying to find Jania outside of Jania's grandmother, which is Jasmine's biological mother. Her name is Dahlia. Her and her other daughters have done a lot to try to bring awareness to Jania's case. They've been out there on the ground, boots on the ground, looking for her all the time. I'm seeing lots of live. I'm not going to say every day, but I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. Outside of that, really, it's been the online social media creators such as Pebbles from Missing and Lost in Traffic, also known as Cherise Wilson. She's been probably the most influential person that's been out there getting Jania's story told in her face, and trying to find information to find this baby and bring her home. There's also Casey the bodyguard, aka Kevin Collins. I see him on Facebook putting out lives talking about Jania, if not anything else, showing her face, asking people to support, organizing marches, search parties. There's a lot coming from those two alone, and there's some other creators that have also been spreading awareness. Gosh, what's her name? I apologize, my mouth is really dry from talking today. Forgive me. I think, what is it? Five Survived Eight. I hope I said her name right. But she's been on TikTok, especially. And I've seen her on Facebook as well, but she's going hard on TikTok. You guys, give her a follow, check her out. She's spreading awareness. She, often has Antonio Rogers, who is the father of Janiyah. She has him on her live panel. She's got Pebbles on there. She's had Casey the bodyguard. She's had other creators on there, people that are advocates for missing and trafficked folks. So check them all out, guys. I don't really get online too much as far as going live, but my goal is to start doing that, especially as a founder of Aid BIPOC. Um, I'm also, relaunching my podcast with Tea Talks with Teresa. So you're probably seeing this on one of those Tea Talks with Teresa pages rather than the Aid BIPOC page, because um, I feel that this is something that, because of all the wild conspiracies, the speculation, the limited information being shared by law enforcement, I think it's important that we do this from my personal perspective, so we can have discussion rather than, on my platform for the nonprofit. I just wanted to put out there that I am the founder of Aid BIPOC, and that's what we support right now. Our main program is for the missing and trafficked, regardless of gender, race, age, location. But I also will put this out there that um, I did launch Aid BIPOC to spread awareness and promote awareness for people that are either intellectually disabled. I have a son that's autistic. He's 14 years old, so that's deep and close to my heart. Um, Black people, Indigenous people, and all people that are feeling like they're oppressed by the color of their skin. So um, I haven't used this in a while, Lulu play Roblox. I'm not really quite sure why you're even on my channel, but you're probably a child, so you probably need to go somewhere else. Or you can stay and um, learn about a missing child and spread awareness. Okay. Um, anyways, let's get back to Janaya. Okay. Um, like I said, I have multiple platforms. I'm pretty much a one person force right now with these efforts. I do have a couple of other folks that volunteer and work behind the scenes on the Aid BIPOC, um, some of the other stuff. But as far as spreading awareness and social media and getting these stories out there, it's going to be me, just me and only me. So I build all my own websites, create my own content. I gather all of the evidence that's been put forth, whether it's by law enforcement, creators, advocates, just normal people like you and me on social media, um, and and then I try to report on that. So um, you can find um, you can find the latest article that I wrote about Janai if you want to really dive in deep and you don't have time to stop and watch this, or maybe I'm just kind of boring here, or you're just not in a location where it's good for you to stop and listen to this, and maybe you don't have headphones or something, not earplugs, but earpods, whatever. But you can go to database.missingintraffic.info, and that's one of my websites. There's not a whole lot of missing folks on there, but Janaya is on there, and I'm building it out as I can. The latest article I have on there is Where is Janaya? Gary's Forgotten Children Deserve Justice. It's quite a long read, but I've left out quite a lot of details because there's been so many twists and turns in this story. And really, we have no answer still. Okay. So again, I'm not really quite sure how this is looking on your screen. I haven't done this in a while, but I'm going to try to see if it'll let me flip around. You can see her picture. That's probably not. I'll figure out how to use this better the next time I go live, but I wasn't going to let that deter me, um, and wanted to still make sure that I am spreading awareness today for Janaya. All right. Um, hopefully you can see what I put in the background. Looks like it might have cut off some of the flyer, but you can see her pictures somewhat to the right of me. Janaya was 13 when she went missing last August, 11th and 12th of 2024. Um, excuse me. She was allegedly reported by her mother as not being at home on August 12th when she woke up in the morning shortly before 8 o'clock a.m. 8 o'clock a.m. They live in Gary, Indiana. Not sure if that's Central Standard Time or Eastern, but you get the picture. And she said that she woke up, Janaya was gone. There were a couple of doors that were ajar open. And on one of the live streams, she said she took 2 bags of her belongings with her. So I'm not really sure of the accuracy on a lot of this, but I'm just sharing with you what I have gathered so far after about a year. All right. Um, so Janaya, a little bit about her. She lives, well, I don't know that she would if she was found today because her grandmother has custody of all of Jasmine's children now. Um, but Jasmine McMichael is the mother of Janaya McMichael Rogers. She is listed as missing under Janaya McMichael. Most of the community advocates for missing folks have added on the last name of Rogers as well because her father's last name is Rogers. And unfortunately, you know, unfortunately, the way things are with fathers and the lives of their children, he has not been able to be a huge part of her life because of family dynamics. You know how it is when you separate from the person that you have children with, and sometimes there's a lot of bitterness that goes along with that. So I want to do the honor for him while he's missing his sweet baby, and make sure that we recognize that she has 2 parents. Okay. So we're going to reference her as Janai McMichael Rogers here. But she lives with her mother and her mother's girlfriend. Her mother's girlfriend's name is, I believe, Kier Bates, and her siblings. At this current time, I believe her grandmother still has custody of the siblings now that Jania's been gone, but I don't want to jump too far ahead. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background of where she was when she went missing and what the family dynamic was. Now, also two doors down from Jania and her mom and her siblings and the mom's girlfriend, two doors down, I believe it was, from where they live, and I believe it's a townhouse or an apartment. It's not a house, but they look like townhouses to me. Um, on the 1900 block of Malcolm X Drive in Gary, Indiana, formerly known as Virginia Street, for those that may be from there but haven't been there in a while. Um, and two doors down, the mom of Kiera Bates, who is, again, the girlfriend of Jasmine, which is Jania's mom, the mom's mother and her husband. So the mom's name is Yolanda, and her husband's name is Nathaniel Walker. So that pretty much in a nutshell is the family dynamic um, of what I've heard has been reported by the community, by family, by friends online. Um, is her family dynamic because she was not really allowed to see her grandmother Dahlia and that side of the family, her mother's side of the family, for quite a while. So um, I can sympathize. I've been in those situations, and I know how it is when you've got a hard thing going in the family. But that was those are the people that were allegedly around her, or whether it was when she disappeared, or um, around the time she disappeared. And the reason why I say it like that is because there's still a lot of speculation about what date she actually disappeared. Um, I'm inclined to believe maybe she really did go missing the evening of August 11th into the 12th, only because Pebbles with Missing Lost in Traffic did report that she spoke with, I don't know if it was a sergeant or what at Gary Police Department, but he didn't really give her a lot of information. But allegedly, he did disclose that she was, in fact, wearing the clothes that the mother reported her as wearing the last time she was seen. So we don't really know too much. That is one piece that was put out there to Pebbles, not necessarily to the public. Um, and it wasn't confirmed in writing, although I will say that Pebbles is very good about showing receipts. When I say that, I mean any information that I may share or you see on my websites or in a social media post, if it appears to be being noted as um, potential evidence, community evidence, I'll say it that way. Um, she has text messages, Facebook messages, live video interviews. She's got all kinds of proof as to where she got the information. It wasn't just from random people. These are people that are a part of the family, know Janiyah, know everybody that was around or said they were around or said they weren't around. Um, but anyways, you'll see me speak a lot about that on that topic. Um, so let's see, she woke up. Let's see, community. You can go to that page. I have that story on there if you'd like to look at it another time as well. Oh, and before I forget, this is my first time going live in quite some time, but please like, follow, comment, share. Please help me spread awareness for this and any upcoming videos and posts that I may make to stay updated. I'll do my best to try to go live more frequently with any information in it. Even if I don't have information, I plan on going live just so we can get Janiah's name put out there. Okay, so we don't forget about this beautiful young baby because she still hasn't been found and brought home. Okay, um, so I'm just going to kind of go down the timeline that I have on this latest article that I wrote about Janiah's disappearance. The reason why the date is really a question at this point is because apparently June 10th, 2024 was the last time that anybody on Janiah's mom's maternal side, so on Jasmine's mom and on that side, okay, like so Jasmine's mom Dahlia and her sisters, Dahlia's other children. um, on that side. They had not heard from, seen, nobody in the family has even heard a peep about or with Janiyah since June 10th of 2024. Okay. Apparently and allegedly, June 10th was also the last day of school in the Gary, Indiana school system over there where she was. I don't know how true that is. I haven't double checked that fact, but that's what's been said. Okay. Also on that date, June 10th, um, Janiyah, let's see, she wasn't last seen on that date, but also on that date, Janiyah's mom, Jasmine McMichael, exchanged text messages or Facebook messages. I'm not really quite sure which platform it is at this point, but there were screenshots sent to Pebbles of missing, lost, and trafficked from the person, I'm assuming, that was on the other end of those messages, because who would have access to that, right? It isn't going to be Jasmine that sends these messages over to Pebbles. It's going to be the person that was talking to Jasmine, right? Or somebody in the family that got the messages. But nonetheless, there's messages between Jasmine and another person, I'm assuming a close family member or a very close friend, where she was begging for somebody to come. I don't know if it was to pick her up or pick the kids up, but in the text messages, it's basically saying that she didn't want her to know where Janiyah and her siblings, and wasn't just talking about Janiyah, she was talking about all of her children, where they were going, because she was trying to relinquish custody and rights from her children and turn them over to her mother. But for some reason, she was mentioning somebody as her, and I can only assume it's probably Kiera Bates, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I wasn't there. I don't know who she was talking to, talking about, and any of that. Okay. I'm going to assume it was Kiera Bates because Kiera was living there with her and her children. And it makes sense, but she didn't want her to know where the kids were going. Obviously, she's going to know that the kids were gone, but she wouldn't necessarily know where they were going. Or I'm not really quite sure where that was going, but she was desperate to find somebody to take her children. I don't down her for that. Um, Although she could have something to do with her daughter's disappearance for that one moment, I'm not going to talk down about any mother that is trying to find somebody or find a way to have her children placed in better care, okay? With somebody, with a family member, with family, or anybody that's going to be able to provide for her and care for her the way that her, she herself as a mother felt they should be taken care of. And she obviously felt she was not the right person to do that on June 10th, if that's the right date. I'm just going to say allegedly. All right. Um, but she was allegedly trying to find somebody to take over the kids, or she wanted to give the kids to her mom. Um, and she wasn't, from my understanding, she wasn't even really in close contact. They were necessarily weren't on the best of terms during that time. So if she wanted to give her kids over to her mom, I'd say that was a cry out for help, right? But nonetheless, again, nobody heard anything after June 10th. Nobody knows what happened if the kids, we really don't know. And as a community, we don't have access to all that information either. So at least I don't. And I haven't seen anything publicly. All right. So that's where the June 10th comes in. Also, because of discrepancies with other people that are in the mix, I'll say community persons of interest, because law enforcement has not named anybody as a person of interest. All right. They haven't named any suspects. They haven't given us any motives. We do know that the FBI did say that um, this they do believe is a situation with foul play. All right. So we do know that at least one branch of law enforcement under the government, the federal government, does believe that foul play was involved in her disappearance. Okay. Um, so as a community, as advocates for missing and trafficked persons, we do not discriminate on the details. All right. Um, if we learn of tips or any suggestion of information from anybody, we're going to speak about it, because if we don't speak about it, who is, right? Mama Jasmine, she's not speaking up about Janiyah. I've seen her maybe go public a couple of times. I'm not her friend on Facebook or any social media platform, so maybe she is, and I just don't see it. But as far as I can see, and the community that all the communities that I am a part of, there has been nothing, um, other than a couple of short stints. All right. Um, so let's see. Uh, August 11th was supposedly the last date she was seen. Um, her and her mother allegedly got into an argument. Um, what's out in the streets is that they got into an argument because Jasmine either said she was pregnant or she said she was pregnant. I'm not really quite sure. Remember, she's 13 when she went missing. Okay, so last year during this time, she was 13 years old. Even 14 years old is young, but it's important to understand this is right after she turned 13. All right, so we're talking about a babe, 12, 13, even 14. All right. Um, they apparently got into an argument. There are also text messages where that have been disclosed to Pebbles for missing, lost, and traffic that she shared with the public that show Jasmine referring to Janiyah as having hot pee. If you can, I'm not going to say it on here, but if you have any idea what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, and that she's fast. And one of her sisters said that she knew that her sister Jasmine and Kiera beat the what out of Janiyah because she was allegedly pregnant and threw her out, or something along those lines. Okay. This allegedly happened that evening on August 11th. And allegedly, she went, Mother Jasmine went to bed, and then Kiera was asleep in another room. And that's when Janiyah disappeared, allegedly. All right. Officially, according to what she reported to the police. But we don't know that as fact about the circumstances. Okay. Um, where are we from? Where am I from? So I'm in the greater Chicago area. I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and that's in the United States. So I don't know if we have any international folks that are watching on here. I see some comments coming in from the YouTube. Um, I am live streaming across multiple social media platforms, so hopefully this is coming across all of them okay. All right, so there's a lot of details to get to on that. But let's see. Night of August 11th, morning into the morning of August 12th. We're just going to say when she went missing. All right. It could be the 11th, the 12th. It could be before that, for all we know. Community reports say that a specific adult male semi truck was present overnight but gone by morning. Now, that's what I have on the article. I will tell you that the specific adult, the specific male adult that is being referenced here is Nathaniel Walker. Nathaniel is the stepfather to Kiera Bates. And remember, Kiera Bates is the live-in girlfriend of Jasmine, and Jasmine is the mother of Janiyah, and Janiyah is missing. Um, Nathaniel is married to Kiera's mother, Yolanda, and allegedly they live two doors down from Jasmine and Janiyah and the siblings. And um, Nathaniel owns his own trucking business, okay? And he's moved around a little bit with who he's contracted with. It's, I don't know every single detail of it. I just know what has been put out there publicly and what's easy to find publicly, okay? But he apparently, I know he had a black truck, and then I don't know if he currently still has the white truck, but around the time that Janiyah went missing, he had started driving a white truck. It's Hirschbaum, I believe it. Just listening for the sirens. We've had flash flood warnings. Hold on. I'll make sure it's not a tornado siren. Okay, it stopped. Hope it's not a tornado. Yeah, we moved recently, so we're a little bit out in the suburbs where they get more of those, I believe. Okay. Sorry about that. But yeah, so Nathaniel around the time that she allegedly went missing, um, he did start driving this white truck that people were saying they saw. Okay, so they saw the truck there allegedly the night she was in an argument, and by morning the truck was gone. I believe that's what the story is. If anybody is on here watching and you know otherwise, feel free to leave me a message, comment, get a hold of me, and I'll look into it. And I will always update if I'm incorrect in any of my reporting. Um, but he had that truck. Okay, so that was a big point of contention. There's something to remember, right? Let's see, August 12th. A report was filed with the Gary Police Department by mom, right? Neighbor allegedly heard a very loud car, claims seen Janai get into a vehicle that night. She vanished. Um, there's a video circulating by one of Janai's cousins where he shows some footage of a neighbor of a car late in the evening hours, early in the morning hours, I don't know, but that night, creeping. And when I say creeping, I mean the car was barely moving. It stopped at a corner, sat there for a while. When it did move, it moved like baby steps. Okay. And on top of that, from when uh, what it appeared to be when Pebbles with Missing Lost and Trapped went live, um, looking at the video and looking at the maps in Gary, and she's from Gary, so she knows the streets very well. Um, that the car that the footage that's being circulated, it was put out first like it was some random car, okay, and then with further investigation into it and just people talking in the community, find out that it is actually footage from the neighbor. My guess, the neighbor that lives in the middle between Yolanda and Nathan and Jasmine and the babies. But nonetheless, on the video, when she was going over it on the live, um, it came to her that the car is going the opposite direction. So if this was the neighbor's footage, why was it going the opposite direction of where they lived? If they were coming home from work late that night, why was it going the other direction, right? You're coming home, you're going to be pulling into the front of where you live, not away from it, right? So there's speculation going around that is also questionable, like why are they trying to put out the narrative that she was picked up by this random car, right? October 5th, let's see, September 5th, Indiana issued a silver alert. Um, that's almost, well, it's probably a couple of weeks. I'll say 3 weeks maybe. That went by and they did not issue any alerts. I'll say this again. I said this on TikTok as well, that I'm not really quite sure why Indiana doesn't utilize any of the other alert systems and why they would use a silver alert for a missing child, right? Or anybody that's endangered for that matter. Really, the fact that this is a 13-year-old child, there's rumors that she may have been pregnant. She's gone. I could see maybe the first time she's reported, if mom reported her as a runaway instead of as being abducted or just gone, or saying anything that would look incriminating towards her and her girlfriend or anybody in the family. I understand initially if she really was innocent, that's why she would say that Janai is a runaway. But after Janai didn't come home after, shoot, I would be concerned after 48 hours of her not returning and nobody hearing from her. Um, Definitely at 2 weeks. I guess this isn't really that far past the 2 week mark, but we all know that the first 48 hours are the most crucial, right? Especially if it's a young child, and especially from Gary, Indiana. Now, I'm not from Gary, Indiana. I was married to somebody who was, born and raised in Gary, Indiana, grew up there in the hood, and he's all about that thug life. And, you know, I visited there once while we were married and I was young, and it was scary. Okay. That was back in the day when they were known as the number one murder capital of the world or the country, I don't know, but you could definitely feel that. Okay. I know they've done a lot of work to try to clean up Gary and bring them back up. And there's so much to go over with that. I'm not going to go into detail, but um, it's a dangerous area, okay? And the block that she lives on is not a safe area, all right? The places that she has been known to be at are not safe areas. Okay, for instance, I believe her mother said she allegedly said that she played at one of the abandoned schools. There's lots of abandoned schools in Gary, lots of abandoned houses, and when I say abandoned, I mean boarded up. Um, Gang activity is taken over. They're finding unalived people, in garages and just all kinds of stuff. And I haven't heard of too many stories where these missing folks have been actually found. A lot of them go unsolved. I just don't think Gary has the resources financially or physically with officers, detectives, which again is why it's even more so important for Gary Police Department to start going alive and at least showing that they're still working on the case, that they do have leads that they can't go into, that um, they're raising awareness, that they've got people out there, boots on the ground. Because right now, from where it stands, the people that I know and the people that I have watched online on these live interviews by the community advocates, by community creators, by social media influencers, they have not heard a peep. Okay, they're the only ones spreading awareness. And hopefully, I'm going to add to that and I'm going to be spreading more awareness. Um, But for now, I'm gonna actually hop off. I didn't get through the whole thing, but I see not a whole lot of people have actually hopped on the live, and it's probably because I'm boring. Um, and it's the first time, so like my following really isn't there. I don't really have the audience that I need to have to spread the awareness, but I'm gonna still keep trying. Okay. The only reason I'm gonna get off now is because I feel like I've been talking and I'm not getting the word out the right way in my approach. So I'm going to end this live. I'm going to come back on this live shortly, not immediately, but shortly. And hopefully I can figure out a better way to get my message across. But please, everybody, share, like, follow, comment, um, let me know that you're here and that you support Janaya and finding her and bringing her home. And hopefully I will see you all later. All right. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye.